welcome back to video 12, where we'll be going over breaking techniques, a little bit of body hardening.
Did someone say body hardening?
I hope you enjoyed episode 11 where we talked about different types of training techniques. And do stick around for episode 13 where it's going to be exciting as we go into basic demonstration techniques. Before we do anything, obviously, we need to do some quick warm-ups. So we'll start with just jumping 5 times knees to the chest, kind of activate the legs, get the core going. Get up! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got me on the last one. As we talk about different stuff today, obviously in Taekwondo sparring, there's a lot of contact. You're getting hit in the body, different stuff. So we've got to make sure our core stays in shape. Taekwondo a lot of times gets this reputation of you have to be fit and you have to be in shape in order to do it. I have people that come by our location all the time and say, I'm going to go to the gym for 6 months and then I'll come back. Or, yes, being fit is a byproduct of our Taekwondo training, because our theory is always going to be your body's the only thing you're going to have with you. Master Hoyle is only guaranteed to have himself with him at all times. So his body is going to be his weapon. That means his body's got to be able to take the shots as well as give the shots, so he's not getting injured, whether it's Taekwondo sparring or out in the street. So currently, we're going to start with some plank positions. We'll have you pick a number between 1 and 5, sir. 5 sounds great. 5-minute plank, here we go. Woo! Okay, now body is straight. So as you're planking, obviously you want your body nice straight. There are lots of variations on the plank. I personally think it's boring to sit here for 5 minutes and not move. So a lot of times I like to twist my hips a little bit, rotate the action. That way you're engaging more of the obliques and score. You can twist the other way. So if I'm holding a 5-minute plank, I'm going to count in my head about 10 to 30 seconds and switch in each position. You can go back. Hips coming up a little bit, changes the angle. Also good to engage different parts of his core. And then what we call the high plank, where his elbows are going to be underneath his eyes. All really good for making sure his stomach stays nice and fit. So we'll have you relax, sir. Excellent job. 5 minutes went by fast. From here, obviously there's crunches and sit-ups. We'll just run through some of them that I like. So I have to go high, sideways. Feet on the ground, crunching up is getting his shoulder blades up off the ground, making sure he's flexing. If crunches are easier and you're that guy that can do 5,000 of them, I recommend coming up and crunching all your muscles as tight as possible before releasing and going back down. So you've got crunches that way. Really good engage your core. Next one, a reverse crunch, where Master Will is going to put his arms by his side, and his goal is to keep his knees bent at 90 as he brings his knees up and then back down so his heels touch. Great for engaging the lower part of your abdomen also. And then from there, we'll pretend he did 50. He's going to hold that same position with his legs up, then he's going to drive his heels up towards the sky without rocking. I don't know. Knees, sorry. So knees up. We'll edit that part out. So he's crunching up that way, still working those lower abs. And then, of course, my favorite is putting them all together. So his heels are going to touch the ground, hands going to be up. He's going to bring his knees up as he sits up, touching his elbows to his knees. Making sure that he's getting his back off the ground, pivoting on that point. About 50 of each of them, you have pretty good abs. And then the last one, of course, legs are going to be extended, arms going up, call them jackknives. He's going to be bringing his body up, holding it as a V, touching his toes. So if you have time to rotate 50 of each of those, do that every day for a month, guarantee you're going to have strong abs. Alright, so go ahead, stand up please. So all that ab exercise is to make sure that when he is getting hit or kicked, you've seen in the video series, we are hitting each other. That's part of it. It's fun to kick your friends.
Occupational hazard.
So that way if he's getting hit, his body's nice and tight, he's not actually going to get injured. Obviously you'll feel it a little bit, but it's great. Same thing goes for blocking and punching. So right now, we'll go blocking first. So if you're blocking, you see a lot of the old martial arts videos where you have 2 guys in their horseback riding stance, they're both setting their left hands up and then hitting each other in the arms. Great for getting the nerves, getting used to the idea of hitting, and you can make as much contact or as little contact with your friends as you can. Same thing, you got middle blocks, you're coming in and touching, using that same part of the arm. You got inside middle blocks, all cruising through. But as you're hitting and deadening those areas and nerves, makes it easier for sparring. You're going to feel a lot less of that pain. Unfortunately, the more you do, the more it tends to mark up your body. So you got to weigh the differences between how much technique and things you want to do versus how good you want to look. Next thing we're going to do is talk about knife hand. So with knife hand, we talked about in the earlier video with using that spot between here and here. A lot of times when you see people knife handing lots of breaks and various things, you're hitting something hard, so you spend a lot of time just sitting here chopping. If I'm on the flat edge this way, it's okay. So once you can do about 1,000 of those and you're not injuring your hand, you can flip it sideways and go corner to corner, and it's the same idea where you're making that contact on that edge to try and strengthen that area. So if you're breaking bricks or doing things, you really need to take the time to strengthen that portion of your hand. For punching is really important. You're only ever making contact with your first two knuckles, so the pinkies and the ring finger would not be touching whatever the move is. So obviously you can't sit around punching things all day at work, but in your exercise, watch Master Hoyle, he's going to start with no board, he's just going to be in push-up position, making sure that there's space between those hands. You can hold that for 20 or 30 seconds and really start strengthening the wrist. From that position, you can move over to a single-handed one. Also, if you're doing 20 or 30 second holds, fantastic. If you're getting past there and you want to go next level, obviously a harder surface can be better for you. So same thing, you can tell that there's space between here, so he's really focused on strengthening that wrist, keeping that body nice and straight. You can go single arm, two arms, whatever the case may be. If you're going to be punching, sparring, getting hit, you really want to take the time to condition your body for those techniques. That way, as you're doing stuff, you're not going to get injured. With the brick breaking, some of the stuff, you see a lot of people out there smashing stuff, they know there's a real possibility of them breaking their hand or getting injured in doing it, so you have to have the proper mindset going into it next. So now that we've got all that stuff going, what we're going to do is have Master Hoyle demonstrate with some of the boards and techniques. Brings in.
I had to get my Sharpie.
Oh, yes,
My
sir.
Sharpie, because I was like, hey, what better way to talk about board breaking with some boards and some, some drawing, right?
I love drawing.
So a couple things. So as you start to, let's say, break some boards, the holder is very important. So let's say Master Stolnik is a pro holder, and he's holding it, bam! All right, so as the breaker, Master Hoyle's gonna look at this board and say, where's the weakest point? Where's the weakest point? So he sees where Master Stolnik is holding this board. Boom! Boom! Then he draws a line, X marks the spot. Really, it's a plus sign. All right, so that's going to be the weakest point of the board, and that's where Master Hoyle is going to try to hit it. So a couple things for this, boom, is going to be a snap. We'll start off with that punch, because most of you guys, even if you've never done Taekwondo, you know how to punch, right? So Master Hoyle, the first thing he's going to do is, when he finds that weak point, he has to have that snap and that follow through. What a lot of people do is, once they touch it, they stop, right? So Master Hoyle is going to demonstrate how not to do it, which is once he touches that board, he's not going to follow through, and he's going to kind of pull his arm back. So I'm holding that board out, he's going to touch it, and kind of pull, and it kind of hurts, and he's worried about how it's going to hurt. The next big thing we see is when people hit it, is they do a push. So they think they're going to hit it harder, so once they touch it, they push it, and he's going to push it, and it just kind of goes back, and there's no snap there. So what Master Hoyle has to do is use those two big knuckles, just like Master Stolnik said, and have that snap and follow through. He's going to demonstrate, whoa, just like that, and it breaks. You can hit it all day long with the wrong technique, and you'll just end up hurting your hand and be frustrated. So think about, first thing is always accuracy, then it's going to be technique, speed, power. All right, so we're going to go on to a kicking technique. So from here, same exact thing. We were going over a side kick in an earlier video, or back side kick, any of the side kicks, and it's going to be the same thing. He's going to find that weak point. So right now we're going to do a step side kick just for demonstration purposes. As he comes in, it's going to be that same thing. What a lot of people do is they're going to be touching it with the whole part of their foot and just push it. So he touches it, it pushes. And same thing, he's going to try even harder. He's going to push it even more. Right? And really, the first thing we said is going to be that accuracy. Where's that weak point? Second thing is going to be his technique, what part of the foot he's kicking with, which is going to be his knife edge and heel. And then it's going to be speed and power. Usually for one board, if you have accuracy and technique, it just breaks.
Sir.
All right, let's just show you. Ha! Like butter. Is butter easy?
I mean, that was a hot knife through butter, sir, I think.
I think so.
Yes, sir.
All right, so remember, any of these things, when I was starting off doing Taekwondo, we did some board breaking, and I went home and I found like a bunch of boards. And let's just say, did not go like in class, right? So all these boards are a little bit different. Plywood is even more different, and that's what I found at my house. And if you know what plywood is, it did not break. It did not break. I'm happy I didn't hurt myself.
Yes, sir.
So definitely, get out to a local studio, talk to the masters, the instructors, before you just start grabbing pieces of wood at your house and try to smash them. But you know what you should smash?
That like button.
That's right. And make sure you subscribe.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining us in episode
12.
What? All right. Ciao. Quit.